10 meteorologist Jason Doris here. Just wanted to give you a kind of an update with what's going on with Hurricane Erin and some of the impacts we're starting to experience a little bit more and more locally. But we'll start with the wider view here. The latest information coming in from the National Hurricane Center as of 2 p.m., just a couple of minutes ago. Still a Category 2 storm as it spins off the coast of the Outer Banks, still a couple hundred miles out to sea. We can see how large the storm is also starting to get too, as it makes its way a little bit further north. Typically, these tropical systems, as they move into the northern latitudes, we start to see the wind field kind of expand out a little bit along with the cloud deck. And some of the clouds directly over southern New England right now are actually from Hurricane Erin, just the outer fringes of it. And we're also starting to feel a little bit of the breeze kind of associated with her wind field. But in the center of the storm, sustained winds right now of 100 miles an hour. Now, as we go forward through today, we're anticipating Erin to actually weaken down into a Category 1 hurricane, but that doesn't necessarily change any of the impacts that we're expecting to see here locally, as really the surf and the rough seas offshore are going to be the two big things. And they've already been churned up from this very powerful storm. So that will not be changing as we go forward over the next 24 hours. But Erin should be at its closest point to Nantucket as we go forward into early tomorrow morning. Again, passing by as a Category 1 hurricane. Now, some of the latest information that we also just got from the National Weather Service here in Boston is they've issued a coastal flood advisory for the south-facing beaches in and around Narragansett Bay, also southern Bristol County, Massachusetts, Block Island, Martha's Vineyard, and Nantucket, as we could see at high tide the potential for maybe some minor splash over and also just a little bit of minor coastal flooding. Some of the areas that we're a little bit more concerned about is, again, the south-facing beaches of Newport all the way up into North Kingstown and a little bit of the lower portion of Narragansett Bay, along with all of the south coast of Rhode Island. And then, as we can see here, parts of Bristol County, Massachusetts, Horseneck Beach, and more and more, along with Martha's Vineyard, could see a little bit of that coastal flooding as we go into tonight's high tide at 8 p.m. And then we have tomorrow mornings at 8 a.m. And then there's also a small threat tomorrow night as well, as the storm system will be pulling away at that point. But another thing that we also have, this has been in place for a couple days now, the high surf advisory. It has been extended to Saturday at 8 p.m. And it's for those waves that will continue to build along a lot of our south-facing beaches, where they could be peaking tomorrow morning anywhere to about 14 to 19 feet. But meteorologist Nick Russo right now is down at the south coast. I believe you're at Misquamicut, Nick. I don't know if you can hear me, but kind of describe what you can see right now and what's going on down there.
Hey, Jason. Yeah, we are down here at Misquamicut Beach in westerly Rhode Island, and there's actually some surfers here in the water. Now, I want to stress that lifeguards have really warned people, do not go into the water today because it is dangerous. We saw a gentleman at Charlestown Beach over in Charlestown a little bit earlier who went into the water. He said it was dangerous. He regrets doing it. He immediately came out of the water. The lifeguards gave him a talking to make sure that he did not go back to the water again. So it is dangerous to be in the water today. The water is closed at all Rhode Island beaches. And most people, for the most part, have stayed out of the water. We're seeing waves pretty tall here. Hope you can see them behind me. It's a little more impressive in person. And we're seeing those waves upwards of 10 feet here on the shoreline. It really is a impressive scene. Hurricane several hundred miles offshore, but we're still seeing the coastal impacts here in Rhode Island. You can also see the wind whipping around. We have a northeasterly and easterly wind here at the coastline, which is actually going to help a little bit in terms of preventing major coastal flooding. We may have some minor splash over towards high tide this evening, but we're not seeing any major impacts in terms of coastal flooding because this is a little more of an offshore, at least a parallel to the coastline wind. So that's going to keep the water kind of pushed more out to sea as opposed to being pushed inland. Really lucky this hurricane is not impacting us directly and staying well offshore, as we're seeing some pretty big swells, but some onlookers, many onlookers here at the beach, just trying to get a glimpse of Mother Nature's fury, high waves along the coastline. Send it back inside the Jason.
Thank you very much, Nick. I literally was just about to ask what the scene kind of looks like with some of the viewers out there, because I know it's a lousy beach day, but wasn't sure if there's a lot of people who are not kind of enjoying the scenery safely.
Yeah, there are quite a few people here. We talked to several who are excited to see the waves. Some of them say it's one of the biggest they've seen in the last couple of years.
Oh, that's pretty impressive. I'm a little jealous. I wish I could be down there too. But again, here back in studio, Nick, thank you very much. We continue to track really those large swells, not only at the coastline, but also offshore. That is another component of this. We've been talking about it. We were live last night when the Block Island Ferry shut down and it was canceled. All services today. We already got a word from them saying that the high speed services will be closed for a good portion of tomorrow, at least the one from Point Judith to Block Island. That one's going to be canceled all the way through the early afternoon. The Newport one not running at all. And they're still up in the air about the traditional ferry. But with regards to the gale warning, that is for the offshore waters, as you make your way out towards Block Island there, that's in effect until 8 p.m. tomorrow. So if you sneak in a ferry late in the day, I'll be kind of shocked by that. But the Block Island buoy right now reading waves of about 13 feet on average as they're passing by. And that's already above what was forecast for today. So we're a little bit ahead of schedule, but the waves should be peaking later on tonight, somewhere around 16 to 17 feet. And then we'll slowly start to see some improving conditions with regards to how large those swells are. But still, Friday night, 10 feet on average. Saturday during the afternoon, going to be some sort of small craft advisory with 7-foot seas still. And then Saturday night, that's when they're going to finally start to approach about 5 feet and get a little bit closer to what they should be. Now, another aspect, tomorrow's forecast, absolutely gorgeous for inland communities. You're really not going to notice anything besides nice refreshing breeze out of the north, but that might incentivize some people to head down to the coastline, which is really not going to be a good thing because we're still going to have a very high risk for rip currents. We can see all of our coastline basically highlighted in that red with the forecast for the high risk of rip currents, but then look at the values for some of the surf in the breaking zones. We could be seeing those waves still 10 to 16 feet along the south shores of Rhode Island. Look at this, 14 to 20 feet potentially for some of the parts of beaches there on Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket. So some pretty nasty seas that we're going to continue to track all the way into tomorrow. And I'm not going to be surprised if we have a Saturday forecast that is also indicating that potential for at least a moderate risk of rip currents still to be prevailing. So that is going to be the big thing as the weather starts to turn nicer and we have that perception that Erin is done with us. She's still going to have a little bit of a grasp on the region until probably Saturday afternoon. The coast might not be clear until maybe Sunday or Monday. So that's something to keep an eye on. But we'll have more information on Hurricane Erin and the impacts and all of that fun stuff as we get going, starting at 4 o'clock with the live reporters down at the coastline, bringing you some of the latest views and scenes from down there.